Chapter 1, The Moon That Did Not Answer. The moon was full. It hung above the ceremonial plateau like a pale, unblinking eye, washing the stone altar in silver light so clean it felt unreal. The moon altar had been carved long before Lyra's grandmother was born, long before the forest learned to whisper the Moonfang name with reverence. Tonight, it waited for her. Lyra stood at its center, barefoot on cold stone, the hem of her ceremonial robe brushing her ankles. The fabric was light, woven for purity rather than warmth, and she could feel the night seeping into her skin. Around her, the ritual circle glimmered faintly, ancient runes etched deep into the rock, glowing with restrained expectation. Hundreds had gathered. Elders in layered robes stood at the front, staffs planted firmly against the ground. Warriors lined the edges of the plateau, their expressions solemn, their postures straight. Families crowded behind them, murmuring in anticipation. Some looked at Lyra with hope. Others with pity already forming, though the ritual had not yet begun. She ignored them all. This was the moment she had prepared for her entire life. Lyra closed her eyes and breathed in slowly. The air carried the scent of night-blooming flowers and old magic, a familiar comfort. She reached inward, the way she had been taught, not with force, but with openness. Her instructors had always said her strength lay in listening. Tonight, she would listen to the moon. "Begin," the High Elder said. The words echoed, formal and final. Lyra lifted her hands, palms open toward the sky. She focused on the quiet place inside her chest, the place where warmth lived. She had felt it since childhood, an ache that was not pain, a pull that was not hunger. She had always believed it was her wolf waiting patiently, growing stronger with every year. She called to it now. Nothing happened. The runes beneath her feet remained dim. The silver light did not intensify. The wind did not rise. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Lyra swallowed and tried again, pushing past the sudden tightness in her throat. She steadied her breathing, letting the world fade until there was only moonlight and silence. Still nothing. The silence stretched, thin and merciless. Her heart began to pound, not with fear at first, but confusion. This was wrong. She had never doubted this moment. She had doubted herself before, doubted her speed, her strength, her courage, but never this. She waited. Seconds passed. Then more. The murmur grew louder, less restrained now. Lyra sensed the shift in the air, the subtle change that came when hope began to turn. The High Elder stepped forward. "Child," he said gently, and the words struck harder than any rebuke. "You may lower your hands." Lyra obeyed. Her arms felt heavy as they fell to her sides. The warmth in her chest flickered once, soft, almost comforting, and then slipped away, like water through her fingers. May I try again?" she asked. Her voice was steady, though she did not know how she managed it. The elder's eyes softened with something that hurt more than disappointment. "Understanding." "The moon has heard you," he said. "If it wished to answer, it would have done so." A hush fell over the plateau. Lyra nodded. She stepped back from the ritual circle, careful not to stumble. She had been trained not to falter in public. Falling would only make it worse. "Lyra Moonfang," the High Elder announced. Her twin stepped forward. Lyra moved with effortless confidence, her silver hair catching the moonlight as if it had been waiting for her alone. Where Lyra's presence quieted rooms, Lyra's filled them. She smiled as she entered the circle, humble enough to be admired, radiant enough to be remembered. The ritual began again. The moment Lyra's bare feet touched the runes, the altar flared. Silver light surged upward, brilliant and alive, wrapping around Lyra like an embrace long overdue. The runes blazed. The air thrummed with power. A sharp cry tore from Lyra's throat, not pain, but release, as her wolf answered the call. The crowd gasped. Lyra felt it then, the pressure of awakened power rolling outward, pressing against her skin. It was beautiful. Terrible. Everything she had imagined, and none of it hers. Applause erupted. Warriors struck their spears against stone in salute. Elders nodded, already murmuring predictions and possibilities. Lyra saw her mother lift both hands to her mouth, tears spilling freely now. Her father straightened, pride unmistakable in the set of his shoulders. Lyra turned, eyes bright, and reached for Lyra's hands. "We did it," she whispered, breathless. "I told you it would be fine." Her grip was warm, reassuring, rehearsed. Lyra smiled back because that was what was expected of her. She smiled as the applause thundered around them, as destiny settled onto her sister's shoulders like a crown. When the ceremony ended, Lyra was dismissed with quiet efficiency. Failure, she learned, was not announced. It was reassigned. By dawn, her ceremonial duties were stripped away. By midday, she was given spirit-cleansing work meant for novices, necessary, respectable, invisible. No one was cruel. No one needed to be. Kind disappointment cut deeper than scorn ever could. That night, Lyra could not sleep. The moon rose again, unchanged, indifferent. She slipped away from the lantern paths, past the wards meant to keep the unawakened safe, and into the forbidden forest beyond the plateau. The air shifted the moment she crossed the boundary. It grew cooler, softer. The ache in her chest eased, just slightly, as if the forest itself had noticed her presence. She pressed a hand to the rough bark of a nearby tree, grounding herself. Something listened. "I tried," she whispered to the moonlit canopy. "I really did." A warmth stirred faintly beneath her ribs, fragile but real. Behind her, unseen by all but the forest, the moonlight lingered, just a moment longer than it should have.